Hello everybody. In this video, I want to review our expense splitter that we did the last time. And I want to change now to the Vue framework. I know that you're already reading through the class a little bit what the framework is, how it works, what it does. And I want to showcase some of the benefits of it and introduce a new element that it could be a little bit overwhelming at the beginning. It removes simplicity in some sections, but then you will start seeing the benefit about how to apply it and and be more dry in your element. I like a lot how to be dry. And what I mean dry is don't repeat yourself. Is how to achieve that section and have an application based in components. It would be pretty cool to see how you can separate different elements and different parts to have their own logic, their own file, their own place, and then how can you use as a separate component, like it were like a little bit like pieces put together in order to form the application itself. For that, we're going to be using Bit. Bit is a web tooling that help you have a development server and help you to deploy or to build your application. So one of the biggest complexities when you write HTML directly, CSS and JavaScript, it just works in the browser. That's not really works. That's the standard, right? When you use some type of framework, you need a compile step that will transfer that to mostly JavaScript section, and then JavaScript will have all that interactivity and push that to the client. Your your index, or your HTML will be pretty much empty, and JavaScript will handle all the changes per se. But you will not be writing the JavaScript section, like the framework will do that for you. You will just handle the logic about how to proceed and work with that person. So for here, we will need another component that we will need to start creating, and I will showcase that. So we reinstalled Wrangler in the last video. Now we're going to create a project internally, and npm and the Bit people, they create an npm command that you can have that together in your system. So let me just execute it. Npm create Bit at latest. Here we're saying like, let's create a Bit project. At latest, we're just making sure that it's going to the internet and get the latest version instead of selecting whatever you could be like cache in your computer. And you go there. The first time it will ask you, you want to install it? You say, you know what? Yes. Go for it. You say, what is the project name? I will call this expense splitter, in my case, in Vue, right? And then we ask what framework when I need to use. Pretty cool about Bit is as a development tool. It has different type of framework that we can use on top of it. More likely you already hear some of them. In this case, we're just keeping Vue. So with down arrow, we select Vue and we select enter. And then I will not talk about TypeScript in this course. So let's go with the official, with the JavaScript section. He says you want to do roll down Bit experimental. Actually, it's fast. I like it. So I would say yes. It will be the future default. So let's say yes. It says you want to install the dependencies. I will say in this case yes. So, well, I will say no in this case because I will show you what needs to be done. So with that, we can go to our expense splitter Vue folder. If I do simple ls, you see, actually ll in my case, if you have Windows computer, you should probably dir to show the public. So we have a public folder, a source folder, the index HTML. We have a JavaScript file that is a configuration for Bit, and we have a package.json file. In this package.json, we showcase different elements. So one of the first things that I need to do, let's actually open this in Visual Studio Code and have it through here. Right? Let me change. This is on my case because I have several profiles. Let me open the profile for the class. And one of the first things that I will see is you will see that there is a recommendation to install the official extension for Vue. And what this is, well, the framework itself introduced a new element that I would like to talk about, and that is the Vue pages. If you open the source, you will see an application.vue, and it's a weird file. We have a script set up on the top, a template in the middle, and a styling at the bottom. So Vue files, what it does is it creates in one file their own JavaScript section or logic. They are HTML tagged in templates and the styling at the end. So two different places. You can use one or the other depending on the case, but that's how the Vue file. And those are actually be created as JavaScript file to be injected. So a Vue project itself still uses the index HTML. You will see that the index is just one basic file with an empty div inside the body and imports the JavaScript files for the source main. Right? Source main is imports the how to create an application, import the styling size here, and then the view, and mount it in the div with the ID of application. And this is what it makes the application work. So everything that we do, we start working through here. Now, the application view, as you can see here, this was in particular have another component imported and use that component through here. It's actually really cool, really neat. But at the same time, you will see that the styling here is all one tone. That's why VS Code asking you if you want to install the Vue official extension. If you don't see that, you can go through here and look for Volar. Actually, it's not called Volar anymore, but that was the official name before. So you can see here, the Vue official one is the one that you need, several millions. And this is the one that you need to download in order to have support for this. So you can install it through here, or you can install it through here. It doesn't matter. Just do it. And when you do that, and it's already installed, you can see that your Vue files now have syntax highlighted. It's asking to restart the extension host to activate Vue support. Okay, let's do it. Cool. And now we can see a little bit better, right? Now we have the main JavaScript where we mount or create the Vue app. The styling, here is just importing everything from the style section. This is one way to do it too. And everything is posted to here. Now, because this uses Bit as a server, we have a configuration where Bit just knows how to compile Vue files. And that's what we have right here. It's as simple as that, right? The way that they handle the source is where you have your code. Public is everything that goes outside. In this case is this image that is a SVG image. And it has some configuration for the extension to recommend you the Vue Volar extension. That's the one that we had right here. Right? Now let's see through here. We have another component. It has its own logic. I will not go to details right now. I will showcase this in the project. But this component is actually created through here and imported here in the application main and consumed here. And we can see that in a minute. So let's actually go back to our terminal. Oh, forget to mention. There's another file called packages.json. This determines the dependencies that the project requires and the different scripts that you can execute through npm. So we can execute Vue development server, build it, or preview. Those are the three that we have right now. And the only interdependence right now is Vue, and development dependencies is bit and bit plugin Vue, pretty much. So in order to install those dependencies, we need to execute. As you remember, I select no when it was asking me to do it for me. Because now that I'm inside the folder, I can just do npm install. And this will go through a process. It takes a minute to install all dependencies that we have in our package.json. Install 9 different dependencies. And now I can just do npm run dep. And this will execute a local development server. Very similar as what a live server does in Visual Studio Code. But the difference here is that this server knows how to understand Vue and it compiles on the fly so you can actually see the changes. So if I open that, and let me going back through here, you can see that we have this Vue application. By default, give us a Vue app. We have those logos through there. We have a title, and it have a count. Whenever you click it, it gets incremented. And that's it. If we go back here, and let's change the application view. Let's remove everything from here. Let's remove everything through here. And let's remove the styling, everything inside the styling. And let's do a simple h1 inside my template and do hello there and save it. This will allow me to have a hello there in my application. So you can see now that every change that I do, added the exclamation point and save it. Oh, something to forget. If you have your Vue file with a dot there, that means the file has changes that you don't save. So let me just save this. And going back, you will see that actually get directed because on my terminal, it's already looking at those changes. It's called hold module reload. It's reading the different places change it and it just push those changes in the browser. And this is for the development environment. For production or to deploy it, we will need to use the dist folder to do that. And I'll show you that at the end. For now, let's just go back through here and let's continue cleaning up the app. So I don't need the hello world. Let's remove it. The styling, I will remove all the basic styling. The index, let's make just a little bit better title. And after I have that, I should have a simple hello there, and with the expense splitter view on the top of the name. And that, I think that's more than enough. So for now, before I continue, let me open my repository. I will init, select everything, initial, I just do initial and commit. Let me publish it because now that we are here, I will make it public and it will take the name that is suggested me because I already have the name that I want. I just get published out there. Okay, successful open. See if I open it through GitHub, I can see that it did work. It's right here. Nice. So let's continue working here. Let me see if we can make this bigger. Probably can do something like this. Let me see if I can actually push this here. Perfect. a lot better. Let me close this here, and let me close this here so we can just move in the application view. There you go. So one of the things that I want to do here, in order to show how simple it is to actually copy the content that we have in the other application. So I will take everything in the previous app, and I have it here. I will take everything from the HTML, everything is inside the body, from the header all the way to main, skipping the script. And paste it inside my template and save it. We have pretty much the same thing. Everything is there, right? Now we'll start making some changes here and there that we can proceed. One of the first things that I want to look or do is I want to remove the header from here. And I want to make that his own component. So inside my component folders, I will create a new file. I will put that as a header.view. And here, I will do simple template, paste the header content, and then I will close the template. Let's make this. Okay, something that I'm noticing is my spaces is actually 4. I don't like that to be 4, it should be 2 for my case. So I do command, comma, to open my settings. So you go to the menu settings. I will look for tab size, and it has 4. I will change this to 2 and save it. So by default, when I do tab, and this need to change to 2. Default size. So I can have something like this, right? So I created a component called header, and inside my component folders, inside my source directory. If I go here, I can use the script section that I need to have the word set up, and that's the convention that we'll be using for the JavaScript file. We can just import different JavaScript elements here. So we can do import header from dot components header view, and in my template, if I execute and the self-closing header component, my header is right there. So I export the logic of my header, that is just visual in this case, in his own file, and then import it in my template, in my main file, and I can see it right there. Let's say if for any reason I need to copy this several times, I will have 3 different headers, just reusing the same component that I have. So this changed the point of view about don't repeat yourself and have different pieces tied together in a better way and a better understanding. So in this case, I can just use the header itself. Go to the header section. At the bottom, I do a script style. And we'll do a scope. What style scoping means is that this style will just maintain and will just handle the header section. It will not bleed or change anything outside the component itself. For that, I can just copy my headers CSS from my previous project. And save it. And we can see that it just got applied. It's in the middle. And we have that little opacity through there. Before we continue, we can just select here. Let's push the header view and put added header. I will keep the application view as it is because we'll make changes later. So I will not commit that. The idea is to have mini commits with specific changes that you will require through time. Right? Going back to the files, I will open my style that will be imported inside my main JavaScript file. And here I can just copy, in this particular case, the body and everything for the box sizing. If I save this, it just get pushed the way that I need it. That's actually cool. So that's one way to have a component. I think now I can add both and add basic layout and style and commit. I can sync the changes. It will don't show me again, so I push those automatically to GitHub. Cool. What else we can do? I would like the card to be its own component and then put different elements in the middle. That actually will be cool. So let's create our own component and let's call this card.view. And the way the card is a simple main class card. Let's just put it in the template. And let's close it. Right? And here we can put everything that we have for the card in the styling in the bottom. We can do style. And just put the card there. Cool. And we should be able just to call imported. We give it the name and we get the component where it's located inside the component folders. And we should be able to use it like this. Card. Right? It's an empty card, but we see the elements there. So that means if I keep it open, I should be able to use something like this, right? Because I want to send elements in the middle. I mean, I can remove this, get the ending part, and go where the main finish it. I'll put it here. If I save this, what do you think will happen? I'll give you 1 second. Could be two. Everything shows or something else. In reality, something else will happen. The content will not appear, and I will show you why. Let me actually just change the tabbing here. I don't like how it looks. Perfect. If I save it, this content is not shown there. Why is not? Because my card doesn't know how to render anything inside. So in order to make components that be able to put elements as a child, and this is a main component, Vue has another one called a slot. This is simple, say like everything is in the middle, put in the middle. When we have that, the content is showcased because now we are telling to Vue like this component could have a child, and those childs are actually the slot, and this is the slot where their child is supposed to be. Now that we have those slots enabled, it gives us the opportunity that the content of the card, that is pretty much all this, allow us to put it through there, right? Pretty cool. Now, let's see what else we can do. I will keep the form as it is for now. So that means that here I will change my forms and only will select the styling and put it here and save it. start looking a little bit better. I will change my header a little bit, and let's change this in Vue and just have a different name. Let me just get back. I didn't add the card, so let me just add everything and put added card, change it, name. Cool. Let me work with the sections. And I want to see if you see something similar in the sections. Pretty much we repeated 4 different sections, and it have a really similar structure. The difference is 3 of them have a list, 1 of them have a paragraph. So we can actually take one of the sections, create a component. Let's call this section.view. We do the template, paste the section, and we close it. I think, there you go. Now through this, we can go back here. We can import the section. And sorry, just thinking out, and we'll use the section through here. As you can see, nothing changed. Because I'll have the section. Now, the only thing that I will make change here is instead of the list, put it there, I will do a slot. So I can send that list through here. Even though it's empty for now, I can send it through here. So I should be able just to do the section for the expenses. The section for the total. And the section for the summary. And I'm more likely probably you already have an issue with my sections the way that they are right now. One of the main issues is that now everybody has the people title. So in order not to pull that out and make it a slot and send like a different title, we can do a prop that we can actually send through the section itself. So here, I will get back to my script setup. I'm going to do something interesting here. What I will do is I will do a const props, and Vue have, of course, be careful with this, have a object called define props. This object, this function accepts an object that will say which type of props we need it. So we can actually say I need a props called title, and this title have some variables or values. So it's a type, a string. That's the naming convention, and I want to default to be the word section. Right. So I need to send that. If I don't send that, it's like having a variable called title, and you will define the title whenever you call the section component. If I don't send anything, I'm saying you will get back as a section. And now I can use this title somewhere in my text inside my template. Whenever I want to use a variable, a component, something that is in my JavaScript section, I need to use double square brackets in order to call it. That's the naming convention for Vue. And if I put here title, you can see that all my sections are called section now. I'm sending the title, that is a string. It came from my properties in JavaScript, and it's going as a section as a default. That helped me to go in here, and as you can see, title appears now. And when you do something like this, we're sending a value, so I can do people and say, yeah, this section have a title, and that title is people. Let's do here. This will be expenses. This will be total. And the last one will be summary. So we reuse a component, and we're sending props to change that component that we can actually use around in a different title. Pretty neat. That allows us to going back here in the section. Let's do my styling. And here in my style, what we need to be using or selecting will be my, let me just open it from the other file. I think I lose it. So, okay, yes, it's right here. I'm telling section has a margin top, so we did it, and the h3 or the title element has this component. All right, cool. So I now have my titles selected and the CSS that belongs to that part. And that's a beautiful section where we can have that separation concern and use it wherever we need it. And as you can see, we just use it 4 times, sending different props to call that particular area. Let's compile everything. Added sections. What else do we need to do? I think the only things that we need to do through here will be adding the rest of the styling. Let me just remove this part. So we have all the way to the bottom, and we just put in the list elements and the summary list. So that means that here, if I do list, John is the name that we use it. I see that it gets reflected, perfect. If I put an expense here, expense here, okay, yes, we will handle that the way they're supposed to. And yeah, and here. Summary, yeah, the summary is here. With summary list, I think it's how we had it. Oh, it's title. Let's select the ID. The way that we had it before is that the section has the class. So here I will change this to ID, summary list. There you go. And let's change some a little tweak that needed to make that work. Cool. Let's remove the list element. And that's pretty much everything for the styling. Now we can work per se in the component itself and how to make it work. So one of the things that we need to do now, one of the cool things about Vue is the reactivity of the elements that you already read. So I need to import from the top. I will import ref and compute it from Vue. And we'll use those through the project here. And the first thing that I will do is const people will be a new empty reference. Here, let me actually put John Carlos for now. And we will go through that process. So you remember before we need to render and re-render the elements depending if something changed. Here, we don't need to do that much. So let me get to the section where we have the list. And here I just need to do a fourth element. So I can just do, I need a list, but this list will be a v4. v4 is the simple for loop inside a Vue element. So say you will repeat yourself through the prop of the v4 that will make the framework know that this is a for loop. And we just need to make the value inside a specific source. So my source is people. So v4 will be person in, actually person with lowercase, in people. And something that happened here, we need to have a dynamic key. That is important for the loops. And usually the dynamic key should be like a number or like a unique identifier. In this case, I will just use the person as the identifier. So I will say for every person that I have in my people list, I just put it in double curly brackets, remember, because we're referencing an object, the person. And now I have John and Carlos there. And that's it. I don't need it anymore. I don't need to render and everything. Whenever that object changes, that change will be reflected here without any other problem. And for that, let's get back to my input for my person form. So I will tie that input to a value, v-value, v-model actually. A v-model is a way to tie a specific element to a reference, to a ref of Vue. So here we'll call this new person. And that new person doesn't exist. So I need to create it through here. Const new person equal a reference of a empty string. This is a reference of array. I put values, this is a reference string. So if I type something here, like Rodolfo, you will see that it actually changed the content because that's the name of my new person, right? Let me put right here. Where can I put it? Probably before here. Let me just do another paragraph and I do new person. And you'll see Rodolfo there, and this is not a text. So everything that I change here, you will see it actually changed everywhere, and it's re-rendered automatically. And that's one of the beautiful part of Vue. That's part of the reactive component. That you don't need to take care about when to re-render or not to re-render it. Whenever you reference, Vue know how to inject that and post it in the DOM, in the document itself, without the need of be calling it and without the need to refresh the page itself. That's one of the benefits about this. So you can see that that's how the V model actually works. So now that I have a V model, I can create a function here, and will be a simple function called add person. So let me remove my name. And let's do const add person equal, it will not take any value, and it will reference inside. So we know that by default, we can use, let's call it like this. And let's do simple like const name equal new person dot value. This is something different also, because it's a reactive or reference in Vue. When you call it in the template, you need to define the value. It takes that by default. But if you call it inside the JavaScript side, you need to reference the value in order to make changes and not change the behavior of the element. So here we're just making the name is getting the new person value. Oh, actually, we can bypass it completely. No, let's do it because I want to trim it. Right? It's pretty much what we're doing. And I say if not name, you need to return. So to my people, my value side, I need to push is an array, the name. And then I can just change my new person dot value equal to empty. Right? The only thing that we're missing here is the prevent default. And we can call it through here, but we can actually call it through the form. And I want to show you that. So I want to do this whenever at submit, this is the event listener. And if I put just dot prevent, it does the prevent the default behavior. So whenever this needs to be submitted, I just call the add person. So that means if I just put here Rodolfo and click enter, the functionality is there. It took less line, and it's a little more easier, at least in my case, this is subjective, of course, to read what happened when the form is get submitted. As you can see right here. Now, the only thing that we can do here, I think that should be it. Now, let's work with the expense. Let's do const expenses equal an empty array that actually a reference should be ref. And my new expense const new expense will be a ref of an object. And here we just have my description that will be empty by default. We have our amount that will be 0 and pay by that will be empty by default, right? And we can type that part for with the V model in the expense form. See, we can use that the description input will be V model new expense dot description. The amount will be V model new expense dot amount, and the pay select will be V model new expense dot person pay by. Oh, cool. Let me remove John and Carlos because those should not be there anymore. Well, actually, let's keep it for now. I'm forgetting that the people list is not the only one that requires the list. It's actually this one. So we can use another before inside the select statement. So we just call it the option. before, and we do person in people, we add the key. Whenever we add a property with the semicolon at the beginning, that means it's a variable value. That's why. So here the key will be changing. That will be the person. The element will be the person, but the value too. No, the value should be fine. No, sorry. Value equal, and the value should be dynamic. Will be the person. So that means every time that we have a person, it should be there. With a couple of efforts, we just can add Rodolfo and assign it to the list and assign it to the dropdown. I don't need to handle the list to recreate it. Like Vue knows the logic that should be behind and just push the element that needs to push it without refreshing or changing the DOM too much. That's one of the benefits about this. So let me remove that extra people and keep the array empty. And let's just put it here, John, Carlos, and both are there. Perfect. Cool. So we can add another function, add expense. It doesn't require anything. I will do something. And we can say that the second form, whenever I submit, the add is like the event listener. Whenever there is a submission, and I'm telling prevent the default one, called the add expense. So here we can do simple calls, description. We could probably do something like the description, amount, pay by equal a new expense dot value. We are extracting those three values, and then we can do the validation. We can do if not description or not amount or not pay by, we just need to return. And this actually need to change a little bit. Instead of not noun, we can do extra validation. Let's say if this one is not a number, we can do description.trim. We can use amount parse float just in case. And pay by stay as a pay by. Right? There is nothing like that. We just return it and do that. Cool. If those are good, so we can do expenses dot value dot push, and we just need to push our object. That will be description, will be my description trimmed. Oops. My amount will be my amount per float. And my pay by stay as a pay by. So I push that, and I can just do expense, new expenses, new expense dot value equal to that. I'm not sure you can do it like that, but I will try it. Let's see. The other things that I need to do now, in my expenses, I need to do a list, and that list will be a before for expense in expenses with a key of expense dot pay by, probably. That will be the key. And that will be the interesting part. So we can use something like, so we have the expense.description. Then we have the dash. And then we have the amount. And with the double curly brackets, and we do expense dot amount dot to fix it right, pay by, and then we select expense dot pay by. Let me see if this actually works. Rodolfo, and then we can do the I bring the sodas. There you go. Sodas 10 pay by Rodolfo. Cool. It's doing what it's supposed to. In order to make this a little bit better to read, probably I can send this here on the closing list in the next line. So we just formatted the text the way that we need it. Now we just need the total and the summary. And one of the cool things here will be use the now the computer elements. So we know in this case that this one is for the ad expense. Okay. Oops, here, so all the rules need to go one level. So I can do another thing here. So const total, it will be a computer value. A computer value usually is a value that it depends of a specific reference or reactive element, and need to showcase it in a different way. So total will be automatically calculated every time because I will select what I need to go here. So this sends a function inside my computer. So I will say if people.value.length equals 0, I will return zero. If not, I will return. And I think probably you already know this, that we're talking about. Actually, we don't need this. We just need to return it. My expenses dot value. I need to reduce because it's a function. I will get my total, my expense, and I get my math about total plus expense that amount. Or you can do the for each, for every expense, take the amount and add it to the total, things like that, right? And I need to start in 0, and this should be to fix it of 2, right? So that means I can just put that where I need it. That is pretty much here. It doesn't look that much, but let me add X, purchase J at $10. You've been lazy with the name, sorry for that. And you can see the total spend, it got calculated automatically. If I do another expense of 5, for example, we have a total spend of 15. The total amount is calculated automatically. And you can see I didn't need to send the render either, or say like change that, because I just doing the reference, the Vue knows where to update. And I hope that you start seeing the good part here, that you don't need to keep track about what needs to be rendered. Just because the object is being referenced, it's been automatically updated for the new value. So, and this just depends on my expenses itself. Let's do const share or split. Let's actually put a split. I think that's a better name. Will be another computed. And through here, that one is the one that we need. If people value length equal 0, return else, or if not, return the total dot value divided my length. That will be this. And I need to fix it too, right? So I can just get in my total this one, reference my split element, and my split element should be automatically calculated. So Rodolfo, horas 10 by Rodolfo, and yeah. Let's add another person, Carlos. Yeah. The split per person is actually making those calculations automatically. And I think the only things that we need to add here will be for the summary list itself. And I think we can do another computed element. And that computer element could be computed too. Yeah, I think it could be done. So let's go here. And it will be computed because we need to do some kind like this, right? Where say also gets. So let's do one more time. Const summary. Let's call it summary list equal computed. And inside need to go the function. Here will be a little bit tricky. Let's see. This will be an object inside another object. It will be a little more complex, but we can do something like, I know that I need to return a specific value. And that value came from my people value. So I need to map every element, and I'm mapping it because I need to change it. So they will be my person. And depending on the person, I will do something about that person, right? So first I need to go total paid. I need to know how much that person expended. And you remember this part is will through the expense dot value, and I need to filter those out. For every expense, I just need to filter for the expense dot pay by to be equal to my person. Right? And then I need to reduce. I probably can put the filter down so probably looks a little bit better. So I will get my expense value and I filter those for the person, and I need to reduce it in order to get a total. So total expense, this structure should be like this, and we just need to return total plus expense, and we start in 0, the counting. So after I know how much I pay, I need to know what is the balance. So it comes balance equal total pay, and this is actually equal minus my split value, right? We know that now we need to see the split itself is a computed value. So we have a computed that based on another computed. And now that I have my balance, I can just return my element that I needed. And it will create an array of a formatted string that will say person, and then here will be the word owes or gets. It would depend if my balance is bigger than 0, will be the word gets. If not, will be the word owes. And then we just can just put the last part that will be math.absolute the balance, and just to be safe, to fix it. Cool. So now in my summary list, let me add a person here. Let's actually go back to John, Carlos. Oops, there you go. And the sodas was by 10 by Carlos. Okay, we see that everything looks fine. So now in the summary, let's see if it's actually working the way it's supposed to. We should be able to do this element that will be a before of summary in summary list, and we need a key, and this key is actually longer because this is like a text, so we can use something like summary comma index. It will give back the index. It's not best practice, but it will help just in this case. And here we just put the summary itself, and hopefully it works. Let's see. And I think it didn't. Let me check that. Okay, I'm troubleshooting. I think I found it. What is the issue? So I have this as a typo. Map was inside. That one needs actually be a dot because it's part of the array, and it removed the extra parentheses at the end. And everything looks good so far, with the difference that I didn't return this object. It's a computed element, so I need to return something. So I'm returning to here, but then these changes I need to return it through the. So that's what it was missing. So if I do Carlos, John, right there we can see that nobody else anything. It's working the way it's supposed to. Let's do Soras, then by Carlos. And Carlos, we have an issue here. Probably because this is actually not doing the way it's supposed to. So let's do this part here, save it. Let's do one more time. Carlos, John, Soras, then actually it's John this case. Something happening here. I'm sending something that is not balanced. So let me check to the element that I'm returning the summary. This I need to have an extra $sign. Let's do John. We're troubleshooting live to see what is the issue. Soras, then by John. So here I have an issue. That means this 10 paid by John is not doing a transformation the way it's supposed to be. So I know I have the total paid. We can do simple console.log my balance. We can inspect it, see the console. See also there is no errors here. Let me maximize this. John, Carlos, balance is 0. Okay. Actually, Soras, sorry, by John. Not a number. And minus 5. That means something in the calculation is failing. If something is failing, should be probably in this part. This is a typo, but the typo is here, so it should not be an issue, but let's fix it. Expense. We're talking total pays expenses.value. Filter my expense. Expense paid by is equal to the person, and reduce with total expense. Total expense. Expense is amount, because remember, my expense is an object. I think that was the issue. Carlos, John, Soras, 10 by Carlos. There you go. Carlos got 5, John's owes 5. I think that's it. That's actually working and doing what it's supposed to. It took a little longer there so that I wanted to, but we just need to be careful how to handle different elements. I think this got a little more complicated in the main file. It cannot be separated because we need to talk about other elements, how to separate that logic a little bit more, so we can have a source of truth of where the data actually belongs to. And we will talk that in a future video. So for now, let's just add it, finish up, seeing the changes. and I want to do something extra. So now that I know that it's working, let's deploy it. And with Wrangler, it's actually really simple. So we'll do Wrangler setup. They will go through the project, and it will say, you know what? Let's put a new project. We'll call Expense Splitter View in my case. You're using Bit, and the command to build this is npm root. That's correct. The output distribution, because when you build it through Bit, it creates a distribution folder. So yeah, all this is correct. Do you want to name your worker? Well, let's call it the same one. The directory contains the application output asset files. Yeah, this. And the command. It will create a new element. I will say yes. Installing Wrangler as a command line tool. And I will show you something really neat about this. See, this is a couple of things. Install Wrangler as a development environment dependency. Install the Cloudflare Bit plugin and update the Jignor. This is pretty much what I did, and we can see the changes here. We can see it created a deploy. We can see that Cloudflare got added here in order to understand it, to know what to do. And a new Wrangler JSON file got added here. So let's just add everything and set added Wrangler, sync it. But that will allow us just to do a simple npm run deploy. Now that we tested that it's working, we can just deploy it. It will build the file, it will upload the file, and will create the website for us. Everything there, and it gives me my website site. If I click it, probably still deploying. Let's wait for a minute. And there you go. I will refresh. It worked. I have my expense splitter in view. Let's go Rodolfo, Carlos, sodas, then by Carlos. Yeah. It's doing everything. It's deployed, and it's a Vue application deployed to the web through that particular URL. So for homework for this class, I need the GitHub repo. Remember, you need to have a new name, a new color. That will be like the norm in every project that we do. And I need a URL for the deploy app. Through the process here, we saw a little bit how the Vue application works, how to utilize Bit as internal development server, and then how to use Wrangler and Cloudflare to deploy it. We learned about Vue apps, Vue pages, Vue files, how those are separated into different components, the script for the JavaScript or the logic, the template for the HTML per se of the body, and the styling at the bottom. At the same time that we can use styling different files and import it from outside and make everything work the way it's supposed to. We have a little glitches here and there to calculate some values, but just try to understand it's a little most of the JavaScript side and be aware of typos the way that I did. Remember that whenever you have a reference, you need to do the dot value inside the JavaScript, and the dot value is not required when you're using the template. So I hope that you like it and understand a little bit what we try to do here. Later we'll do another projects, mini projects like this. It will be probably not like a one project per week. It will be like a one project per every 2-3 weeks. It will take a little bit longer. But I will showcase another concepts. At the end, the application view looks actually messy, a little because it is. We can separate that a little bit better. But in order to separate that, I need to introduce more concepts that I want to showcase later. So far, let's keep it as it is. I hope that you like this video. I hope that you like what we did today. Remember always, if you have any question, any doubt, don't hesitate to reach me. Happy coding, everybody.